All right, welcome to our week 2 for advanced ranch and management planning. All right, in this week, as we talked about in our syllabus, we're going to begin with stocktrak or commodity trading. Now, the idea again with this portion of the class is to go ahead and get you started in this area, let you play for a long enough period of time to hopefully gain some insight. As we get together, we'll reflect on how things are going, but in the next week, we will move to completely different topics. So it's kind of important this week to do a couple of things. One is to review the content of the week. Number 2 is to go ahead and get traded in stocktrak or get set up in stocktrak, and then go ahead and begin trading. And then as you get involved into looking at the markets, we can kind of touch on it each week. Hopefully you'll have some insight into how things are going, ask questions, and that'll begin the process. Again, we're just beginning this. We will continue this through almost the entire semester. So the key is to get started. So in this video, I wanted to show you a little bit about the week, and then I also wanted to talk about stocktrak, how you get in, and a little bit about how you may buy and sell. So let's take a look. All right, first of all, when you log into the week, you're going to see, of course, syllabus week 1, but you're going to see week 2, and then you're going to see also week 2 with stocktrak. So let me click on this first week 2. This is about supply and demand in the market. I've got some videos I put together that I think just help kind of review a little bit about the market and really this concept of cyclical price, things in the market, supply side and demand side, that may impact price, and just a good set of information for us to look at. All right, the next week 2 that's listed in there is the week 2 stock tracking trading basics. So when you get into this, I've got this introduction video, of course, you're looking at, but in the second part, the stocktrak setup, there is a link right there. If you click on that link, that will navigate you to stocktrak, and you will register as part of this class. It costs about $31 each, but go ahead and take care of that, and that gets your account created. So you'll go ahead and make sure you get your account created and password information, so get that done. Down here in the bottom, I've got some additional stocktrak videos and resources to kind of help you just get going. The way the terms are described, and I need you to understand about buying and selling and how to do that. You've also got a discussion this week, so make sure to complete that. All right, so that's kind of the week in Blackboard. Let's take a look at stocktrak itself. So I'm logged in as a professor in this account. When you come through this, you're probably going to land on your dashboard, which is what I have right here in front of me. And I want to talk about how you will begin to trade. I also want to jump over to something called CME Group, which is something we looked at in class the other day. And I've reset the page. If you go to CME Group, you'll look at quite a few things. But if you'll hover over trading and go to agricultural products, then it will pull up all of the products that you ought to be able to trade. Now, there'll be some things in stocktrak that you can mess with, like currencies and other areas. I really like you to stick into ag commodities. But if there's a trade situation that comes up, maybe currency trading is something that you feel like would be relevant. So you're able to trade anything you can get to, I guess. When we come to the market here, I do want to talk about futures contracts. We talked about them the other day in class. But let's just go, for example, to feeder cattle. You can see the market's open right now as it's trading. If you just click on any of these contracts, like feeder cattle futures, you can see information about the market. You can see what we call the months that the commodities can be traded as contracts. So, for example, an August contract is pretty much going to be mature and done since we're in August right now. In September, that's a contract that's called the front month because it's the next contract. October, November, January is moving out into the future. You want to make sure you stay out in the future. If you start trading contracts that are right on top of the month that you are at, you will end up with not much price movement because nobody's trading that any longer. They're going to be trading these months out in the future. All right, so if you want to learn more about each contract, you can click on contract specs, and it'll tell you about this contract. It'll tell you the size of the contract. It'll tell you when it's traded during the day. That's when it will be active. And then you will learn about the codes, and you'll learn about the months that it's traded for. You can learn about other information as well on the contract itself. All right, so let's go back to agricultural commodities. So they're all listed here. Once again, you can click on each contract to learn more. Now, when you move into futures contracts, there's really 2 positions. If you were to come into, let's say, go back to feeder cattle, click on this little chart icon. It'll show us a picture of what the feeder cattle market is looking like right now. Now, this feeder cattle market is live. You can see some numbers changing in the market. The price is $134.150, and that is a hundredweight or $1.34 a pound if you look at it in pounds. But anyway, you can see the market's fairly depressed right now. You can see some big low days. We'll talk about some trends. The market limited down a couple of days. But if you're going to come to this contract, just a simple futures contract, the answer is you could take a position to buy, which you would then hope to buy today at $1.34, 134.00, and you hope it's going to increase, and later on, if it does, you would sell that same exact contract. Now, that would actually make you money. If you were in a position here, hindsight's 2020, at $161 or $161 a pound, you may look at that and say, man, that is super high. If I sold that contract as the market fell, I could then buy it back later at a cheaper price. So when you look at trading in futures contracts and options, either one, there's really two positions. One is to take a buy to get started. We call that a long position. And then later on, you would hopefully sell at a higher price. Or you could start off with a sell. We call that a short position. And then later on, you would come back in with a buy, which would also make you money. So the futures market's described as the perfect business. You can make money when the prices go up or the prices go down. And if it were that simple, then everybody would do it. But that is the concept of the futures market. All right, so what you're going to be doing is you're going to be looking at CME Group to try to learn just what's going on and make estimations and try to manage your risk the best you can. That is the futures market. Now let's jump back to stocktrak. How does it work in stocktrak? Well, it's a little bit different. But when you come into stocktrak, get your account set up. If you hover under trading, you can choose, and I would suggest you start with futures. Now, when you choose this, you have actions over here at the side. There is a buy, and that sell would get you out. However, in stocktrak, they use short to describe the other way to get into the market, which is normally a sell, and then cover, which is normally a buy, would get you out. So stocktrak uses 4 terms to describe the things you could do. If you buy a contract, you would get out by selling it, and that would be a long position. If you got into stocktrak and you wanted to get in because you think the prices are high and you want to get in what they sell, then in stocktrak you choose the word short, and then to get out of that, you choose the word cover. So really they've just broken up the idea of long and short into 2 different sets of terms. Long is a buy, and that's how you'll get in and you'll get out with a sell. So those two kind of go together. In stocktrak, if you want to start with a short or a sell, you choose actually short, and then you get out of that with a cover. So these two kind of go together. So the idea is I would come in and I'm going to look at feeder cattle, and I'm going to choose a buy. I am going to come through here and choose livestock. I am going to choose, in my case, feeder cattle. I'm going to decide to work with a contract like an October month because that's pretty far. I'm going to choose just one contract to get me started, and I'm going to choose it to be at the market. Don't worry about these other order types at this point. We'll talk more about that later. And I'm going to say market, so it doesn't matter the price, whatever the market's at. It's showing me $1.34 like we just saw earlier. It's going to take me about $3,000 to get this trade done. And so I will hit my order. You're about to place an order. I need to add notes. So every time you trade, I'm going to ask you why. And I'm going to come in and say, I think the market has overreacted to the trade deals, and cattle would rise. And so I'm just having to kind of justify what my position is. So once I hit confirm, it says that I am ready, and so I can go ahead and say I want to place a new order. Also, I can look at open positions in my portfolio and see that my feeder cattle initially is done, and there's really no change. I have lost a little bit. That is my commission, and so I will sit here and see how this works for me to take a look at that. All right, hopefully this video helps for you to see how to get started with CME as well as how to get started with stocktrak. These two are going to be paired together. You're going to use both of these to make decisions. There's lots of other resources listed in the week that refer to StockTrak. So take a look at those. StockTrak has some great resources also on its own. But hopefully this gives you some insight into how you can get started in your StockTrak account. Really, the goal for this week is to make sure you get going, get a trade put in, get a feel for what's going on in the market. We will keep talking about StockTrak each week a little bit, and I'll try to drop some things in as we move into the other topics that we want to cover in this class. But hopefully this video helps you get going. Thanks.